The unexamined life is not worth living. To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. Happiness depends upon ourselves. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act but a habit. The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. Our greatest glory is not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. He who is not a good servant will not be a good master. The only real mistake is the one from which we learn nothing. An unexamined life is not worth living. It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. The only wealth which you will keep forever is the wealth you have given away. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. Happiness and freedom began with a clear understanding of one principle. Some things are within our control, and some things are not. The only real wealth is the wealth of the soul. Man is the measure of all things. By all means, marry. If you get a good wife, you'll become happy. If you get a bad one, you will become a philosopher. The mind is not a vessel to be filled, but a fire to be kindled. In a disordered mind, as in a disordered body, soundness of health is impossible. There is no easy way from the earth to the stars. The greatest wealth is to live content with little. You are not a drop in the ocean, you are the entire ocean in a drop. You will never do anything in this world without courage. It is the greatest quality of the mind next to honor. It does not matter how slowly you go as long as you do not stop. The art of being wise is the art of knowing what to overlook. He who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow. Youth is easily deceived because it is quick to hope. To do as one would be done by a hand, to love one's neighbor as oneself, constitute the ideal perfection of utilitarian morality. No man ever steps in the same river twice, for it's not the same river and he's not the same man. The greater the difficulty, the more glory in surmounting it. Skillful pilots gain their reputation from storms and tempests. Everything in excess is opposed to nature. We are too weak to discover the truth by reason alone. All things are subject to decay, and when fate summons, monarchs must obey. The greatest way to live with honor in this world is to be what we pretend to be. I know that I am intelligent because I know that I know nothing. All men's souls are immortal, but the souls of the righteous are immortal and divine. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. The highest realms of thought are impossible to reach without first attaining an understanding of compassion. It is the power of the mind to be unconquerable. The good man is the friend of all living things. He who is not a good servant will not be a good master. I count him braver who overcomes his desires than him who conquers his enemies, for the hardest victory is over self. Give me beauty in the inward soul. May the outward and the inward man be at one. Death may be the greatest of all human blessings. Virtue is more to be feared than vice, because its excesses are not subject to the regulation of conscience. To find yourself, think for yourself. Life must be understood backward, but it must be lived forward. Character, in the long run, is the decisive factor in the life of an individual and of nations alike. True wisdom comes to each of us when we realize how little we understand about life, ourselves, and the world around us. Happiness is not an ideal of reason, but of imagination. No one saves us but ourselves. No one can and no one may. We ourselves must walk the path. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. The mind is not a vessel to be filled, but a fire to be kindled. To conquer oneself is a greater victory than to conquer thousands in a battle. To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment